Assalamu alaikum. In this video I will teach you inshallah how to write correct simple sentences. But before we begin, please don't forget to subscribe, share it with other students, and click on the notification bell so you get the latest video. Okay, writing simple sentences can be somewhat difficult for students who are learning English. But what you need to know is that all kinds of sentences, no matter how long they are, they all depend on one kind of sentence, and that sentence is called a simple sentence. And today, inshallah, I will show you step by step how to make good simple sentences. Once you learn and master how to write simple sentences, it becomes very easy to you to make compound or complex sentences, because the compound and complex sentences are really made of simple sentences. Now, before we begin, you need to know some points about sentences in general. Number one, a new sentence always begins with a capital letter. Ahmad is a student. Number two, a sentence ends with a punctuation mark. For example, a period, a question mark, or an exclamation mark. For example, the baby ate the cake. I don't believe it. Is he a student? Number three, a sentence contains a subject that is only given one time only, once. We do not say, Ahmad, he is a student. That's wrong. We say, Ahmad is a student. We do not repeat and write he. We just say, Ahmad is a student. Remember, a subject is either a noun or a pronoun. Point number four, a sentence contains a verb. You have to have a verb in a sentence. For example, he ate, he is a teacher, and so on. Number five, a sentence follows subject, verb, object, word order. So if the sentence has an object, it comes after the verb. For example, he bought vegetables, he bought a cake. Finally, number six, a sentence must have a complete idea that stands alone. In other words, we need to understand the sentence. So having a subject and a verb is not enough to make a sentence. If we say he is, or we say the teacher is, and we stop, that's not a sentence. These are not sentences. Although it contains a subject, it contains a verb, it starts with a capital letter, ends with a full stop, but these are not sentences because it does not have a complete thought. We do not understand anything from this statement. But if we say he ran, we understand. If we say he ate, we understand because we have a subject and we have a verb and there's a complete thought. When he says he ate, okay, we understand that he ate. But when you say he is and we stop, we don't know what he means. So sometimes a sentence is made only of two words, subject and a verb, and it has complete thought. If we say he finished, we understand that he finished something, correct? It's not important to know what he finished, but we know he's done. But if we say he is or she is without continuing our statement, we do not understand anything. Okay, now we will start with simple sentence patterns. I'm going to show you 6 different patterns for writing simple sentences. In the first 3 patterns, we will use verb be. Remember verb be, am, is, are, was, and were. Verb be is not an action verb. Okay? It does not show us something happening. It just describes a situation. So it shows no action. It tells us about a state of being. وضع أو حالة. The first pattern is subject, verb be, and plus a noun. So Ahmed is a student. I am a teacher. So we have a subject, we have verb be, and we have a noun. There's no action. If we say, for example, Rayyan is a student, Mu'ad is a father, and so on. The second pattern is subject, verb be, plus an adjective. He is good, they are happy, we are happy, I am happy, and so on. So now we have two patterns to make simple sentences. The first one is subject, verb be, noun, and the second one is subject, verb be, and adjective. We can make a third pattern by combining these two. How? Remember that adjectives come before nouns, correct? So if we look at the sentence Ahmad is a student and we take the other sentence he is good, we can move good and put it before student, and we have our third pattern of writing simple sentences. Okay, so we can say he is a good student. So now we have three patterns. We are pretty much done with verb be. Okay, yes, we can use adverbs after verb be, but let's not make it any complicated here. We'll keep it simple. The fourth kind is subject plus action verb. Okay, now we'll deal with action verbs. Action verbs show some kind of action. For example, eating, drinking, writing, walking, reading, and so on. He ran, she slept, she climbed, he ate. Subject plus action verb and has complete thought. The teachers left, the students left, and so on. Remember that adverbs can follow an action verb. Adjectives come before nouns. Adverbs can follow action verbs. So here we can add an adverb after the verb and make our sentence more interesting. He ran, we can say he ran quickly. She slept, we can say she slept deeply, soundly, and so on. The fifth pattern, subject plus action verb plus object, and the object is either a noun or a pronoun. For example, Hamad made a cake. What did Hamad make? He made a cake. So the cake is the object of this sentence. The students read books. Books is the object. My students bought stories. Stories is the object. So we have subject, action verb, plus an object. But sometimes we have two objects, and one of them is called direct object and the other one is indirect object, but inshallah that's for another video. The final and sixth pattern is subject, action verb, adjective plus noun. Remember that we can put an adjective before the noun, and in this case there is a noun as an object, so we can use an adjective before it, and we can make the sentence more interesting. So if we say Osama bought a story, that's the fifth pattern, subject, verb, object. We can say Osama bought a short story. Faris bought a long story. Anas bought an interesting story. So we have a subject, action verb, adjective plus noun. So simple sentences have a subject, a verb, and a complete thought. We understand totally what's being said. It can also be with an object, but sometimes it can be without an object. For example, when we say he ran, he finished, there is no object here. You need to understand that a subject can be more than one person or one thing. We can say Yasin and Hattan read books. So in this case, the subject is Yasin and Hattan. And this is called compound subject because it's made of more than one person or thing. Also, we can have we can have compound verbs. We can say Yasin and Hattan read and write. So we have read and write as the verb. It's called compound verb. These are still simple sentences. We can say Yasin reads and writes, Hattan reads and writes, or we can say Yasin and Hattan read and write. So once you learn how to write simple sentences, it becomes very easy to make compound or complex sentences because the compound and the complex sentences are really made of simple sentences. We'll give you an example how to make a compound sentence. Jawad likes English. That's a simple sentence. Subject, verb, object. He hates French, or Jawad hates French. Subject, verb, object. We can combine both of them to make a compound sentence, a longer, more interesting sentence. So we can say Jawad likes English, but he hates French. So we used but to make a compound sentence from two simple sentences. Inshallah, we will deal with compound sentences later on in another video. I don't want to make it any more difficult for you here. But for now, what you need to do is to learn and practice the 6 patterns I showed you on simple sentences. Thank you very much. Don't forget to like. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.